We're going to have another gun show report. I did go to one the week after. That's why the date will be there, November 30th. When I went the weekend before to a show. This one was in Salisbury, North Carolina, and it's a little bit different. The other one I went to, that gun show promoter, he covers Virginia, North Carolina. I think he goes across the border even to the northern part of South Carolina, a couple shows there, and so forth. So he's pretty spread out, and also the way he works is usually it's state fairgrounds or city coliseum. So he's got his schedule set up that way, or his contracts for renting these venues. The one I went to this is not somebody that promotes or travels. It's an old mall down there in Salisbury, and I guess somebody has an agreement or a contract to rent out the venue or the space 4 times a year. So they have 4 shows in a year, and it's just one person that manages it, promotes it, and runs it, and it's only there. And it was kind of like the way the Greensboro show was run, and I find those are a bit better than somebody who's traveling across 3 states and all this other stuff. But that was the type of show, and I've been there several times, and actually this time I took my wife. It's like a 1-hour drive, so we kind of made the day of it, going down there just to get out of the house on a holiday weekend. So when we got to the venue, same as usual, parking was a little weird, and I had to park. I just went, it was crowded. So a lot of people did show up to the show, more so than the other one. As far as the size, see, the thing is, it's pretty congested in there. It's a fairly large space. I forget how many tables, 300 tables or something, and there were no empty tables. And when we went in there, it was full of gun vendors, mostly. Very few, I'd say there were 5 or 6 knife, because it's a gun and knife show. There was a couple knife vendors. There was one guy in there with coins and stuff, both gold and silver. He had a pretty good array of coins, both old collectible coins and bullion, which that's always something to see. I don't mind when they have a good coin display there, and there was only one. So, and there were a few nondescript, there was none of this purses and that. There were a couple holster people, and I believe one individual, I think he was displaying a collection of side-by-side shotguns, old shotguns. So you actually, like they say, a gun show, somebody came there and displayed a collection of something unique and unusual. So you had it all. Also, there was a lot more dealers that I haven't seen at the other venues that were there, and there was a lot more Milsurp out there. Actually, there were 2 fairly large guys I know that really deal with it and bring a lot of Milsurp, and it was scattered amongst all the other tables. There was a good selection. So, because most dealers would have their modern stuff, and then they had a few Milsurp things, like maybe 5 or 6, and there were 2 dealers that had, like 20, 30 Milsurp guns. Okay, but even all the guys that specialize in that, they got to sell commercial, like somebody asked me, but new retail firearms of some sort, because seriously, the supplies of military surplus guns are drying up, and it's hard for them to get stuff to put out there. So you'll see that, instead of where they used to have, like, say 75% would be the Milsurp, Now it's down to about 60, and they had more sporting long arms and, again, new stuff there, be it handguns or shotguns or AR-15s and things like that. So there was a wider range of stuff, okay? And some of the people there I haven't seen in years, well, now I know where they show up. Were there with their same routine and that. One thing you're not going to find there, and this is the thing, a lot of people ask me, when I'm reviewing these inexpensive pistols, in reality, these handguns that I say are $230 or something. After said and done, being sales tax and shipping and the transfer fee, they're about $270 out the door with all expenses. Okay, so, but when you went there, there's nothing like this. There's nothing like this DY9. There's no G2 pistols. And I believe, like a lot of these guns are being, with this Black Friday or because the economy's so a lot of these guns online are low, okay? And for the $100 Turkish shotguns, there was a few, somebody had one there, a pump, but he wanted $240 the full retail price for it. It wasn't no $100, okay? There was one or two examples I found going through all the tables of some of the Turkish shotguns. I think there were a couple Panzers out there. And of course, some of them were a little less than the full retail. But like I said, you got to figure whatever is online at the rock bottom, you're going to add $50 to that to get it to you with sales tax, shipping, and the transfer fee. So you're looking at $50, $60 more. Probably, it was close. It's a close call. But they were 300 something, not 199.99. They were 3 something. Then you figure you're paying sales tax and that. So, okay, the bargains ain't there. Now, on to the Milsurp. Looking at the Milsurp, the least expensive things that I found price tag wise is Hugo Mausers, Hugo bolt action Mausers, either the old ones or I think the 2353s or something, and they were all refinished and reblued and that. They were going about $450, and there were several of them there. Okay, then I was looking around at some others that this one guy had, and he had a good selection. Okay, and there were some straight pulls, 95, Austrian 95 straight pulls, these little carbines. I think somebody had a long rifle, but you're looking for $450 for those. There were several Swedish Mausers, the 96s, and all of them had a price tag. They were $650. Didn't really see a lot of Enfields, or if I did, I didn't look at them. One place that had a bunch of guns, I turned the tags over, I can't remember, but I was trying to remember the prices. And I was looking for like a Setme or one of those G3s that came in. They call them PTR 91. Well, not a PTR 91. I was looking for a Century Arms G3 that they rebuilt, the ones that are kind of beat up from Portugal. And I only found one Setme, and that was at like $1,100 or $1,200, and it was used. And I heard people say, and I've seen on the gun broker, you can find them for around $7. But then again, the sales tax, transfer fee, and a lot of them it's $50 shipping. You're getting up there to $800-900. Okay, but it's better than $1,000 and paying the sales tax and out the door. I did look around, and of course, M1 Garands. Okay, how can we forget M1 Garands? You can't touch one of these. You know, this one here, I had to do a replacement stock on this. Part of it's replaced, part of it's beat up. But one's nicer than this. Okay, I guess they're supposedly a collector's item. I've seen one where the stamps down here were clearly visible and really nice and that, and $2,000. And some of them were upwards to $3,000. So these things here are running about $2,000. Now I remember a time, something like this. I remember years ago, back in the 80s, it was like $400 for this stuff to come out of the DCM, and that, you know, that's what people were asking. That's what people were getting. But you know, I don't think I took home $320 a week. All right, so $400. It was more than a week's pay. Then it kind of went up. Then by the time I got this one from the civilian marksmanship program, and I bought this one without a stock. I ordered one, it was just all the metal, and because the stock was broken or something. And I got this one, I had to get a stock for it and that, so I was looking, you know, that's how I got it, kind of a little bit less. And I can't remember exactly what I paid. Then at one point in time, the ones that came in, they were worth about $500 or $600, and they started going up to $700. Then, you know, every year that passes up and up more, and I remember they were up to $1,200 at one point, and then there was 2008 recession. You know, you couldn't find a Garand at a gun show. It was tough to find one. You know, and in the 80s too, they brought a lot of them from Korea and overseas that were pretty beat up and trashed out. And they were actually $200 and some, or you know, about $300. You could get a Garand. But they were pretty beat to crap. And, you know, you could get the nicer ones that were refinished by the Dutch or something for about $400. So they kind of dipped in the 80s and started going up, and by 2010 or so, they've gone from that $200-300 price range up to about $700-800, and you know, gradually they went to $12. Then in 2008, with the economy crashing, people needed money, and they'd sell these. And then you've seen a bunch of them, they were back down to $800-900 again. And now, you know, 2008, I don't know how many years, 10-15 years. Now they're $2,000 a piece. Okay, so I don't know. It's crazy. So also, what was the thing like? So having that gun show on a Black Friday, it wasn't too good of an idea. Maybe they thought people wouldn't find what they wanted at the big box stores and then come there. But it didn't look it, because like I said, there were no real bargains. Everyone had some high priced guns, and actually, see, my wife was looking at, what did she have? That little 380. It cost her about $700. They had that thing on sale for $600. So it was like $100 less than what she paid for that years ago. I forget the brand name, but it's one of the higher priced ones. And it had tons of Glocks, which are about $600 for a new one. That's the price range there. Tons of Glocks, all the other top of the line guns. And the thing was, there were a lot of people. It's like there was a crowd that came in. There was a lot of people showed up, and they kind of went through the show. And then, you know, we took our time and made 2 or 3 trips around. I talked to some people I knew, and then all of a sudden you just see the people were leaving, and none of them were getting a hand stamp. They all just were going. They went, they looked, they came, they left. But it was a good turnout. And I noticed how I can read the show is when we're walking around this one table, my wife's seen a Caltech. And I was looking, it was priced at $200. I thought it said, she goes, oh, isn't that a Caltech like you bought at P15? It was a P17 22 caliber. And the minute she would point, the guy would jump up from his chair and run over. Yeah, if you want to look at it, we can talk about it. I'll show you the gun, unhook it. And I was like, no. Then again, when I went back to see it, I said, okay, no. I was mistaken. That's a 22, but they had the metal one, the P15 with the metal frame. And it was $500 and some for that gun, which is a lot. I don't know what the retail was on the metal frame one. I know it's more than the polymer one that I have. But I think that was people were paying like $600 or something. I think the MSRP is close to 7 on that, so that was down there. The P17s I've seen online for 100, under 200. Okay, but then again, like I said, shipping, sales tax, everything else. So actually, his prices were not terrible for those firearms. But also, whenever we'd stop and look at something, the guys would jump up and, hey, anything you want to see? Is there anything you're looking for? And they're trying to make a sale. So I guess sales were not that brisk. I think I saw 1 or 2 people doing paperwork, but not that many. Usually when a show's pretty busy, you'd see there's a line of people, or where they got the desk where you do the paperwork. There's 2 or 3 people. I've seen very few people sitting there filling out paperwork. There were some ammunition dealers, and I didn't see, like I said, the other show, you see people with the little bags of ammo. They come and buy some ammo just for the fact they drove to the show. I didn't see that. Okay. So there was people, but I didn't see a lot of sales. Okay. And that's where the show was. Prices on the surplus guns, depending on what you're looking for, I thought were steep. And really, you had people glancing at the table, but, when I was flipping all the price tags around trying to remember to make this video, the guy seen me, look, he goes, are you in the military surplus? Because a lot of people would just look. They wouldn't even look at the price tags, or if they glanced down and could see it, they just kept walking. So, maybe. And I'm going to do 2 more videos because I just want to get this one done, not make it too long. I'll talk about how the new kind of an update on Milsurp, and also a lot of people say, well, they're trying to shut gun shows down and that. And it looks like gun shows are kind of becoming a thing of the past, just the way our society is, how we buy guns, how things are traded. Gun shows themselves, I think, will just fade away, because it was nice to drive up there, get out of the house for a couple hours and spend the morning and part of the afternoon and that. But in reality, hour driving there, hour driving back, it wasn't bad. It was $10 I had to get in, so $10. You can't complain. It ain't 50, and you didn't have to pay to park. Parking was free. Okay, so to kill time and check it out and see what's there. And again, I do better sitting here at the computer than going to the gun shows. Oh, and okay, I'll bring this up. There's another thing. Selling something. Okay, I had something I was carrying with me to try to sell just to see if I could get interest. I checked it in at the door. And there were several other people that had long guns, or, one guy had a sign, I got a Colt pistol in my knapsack, and all that other stuff. And it used to be when you went to a gun show, if you brought something in like that, there were a whole bunch of people like hanging around the door out front. They want to look at what you got. And I've sold things before I even got into the gun show, just standing in line waiting. People would approach you if they seen something that you had and they liked it. They'd approach you and buy it right there. Well, I guess that's, I don't know if it's something with the ATF or how the laws are. A lot of gun shows won't let you do that. They don't want you trading outside the building or out front or in the parking lot. That one venue that I go to, they actually have security people out there that if you're doing that, they will tell you to leave or they'll call the cops. So you don't see people bringing guns in, and the few that did, and I did, I had one individual at both shows ask me about this firearm, asked me what I wanted for it, and it wasn't reasonable, but then again, a dealer isn't going to even give me half of what hell I was asking for, even though he had something on the table that was similar. That he was asking more than $100 of what I was asking. Okay, so you have to find a person that, you know, is walking through the show, sees you holding this for sale, and really wants the gun. Okay. I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing people coming to the show trying to trade with other private individuals. I don't see that anymore. I do see people carrying guns to sell, but I don't see anybody asking them about them. I remember, 15 years ago, like I said, sometimes I'd sell the damn guns before I even got through the door to get to the check. And if I walked around the show, people would ask me, how much you want for it? What do you got there? What are you selling? And I don't mean dealers, I mean just other people there. That is gone. That's like, I don't see that anymore. So I'll also make a video about how you can go about selling your guns privately to get the most money out of them. And so there are some things changing. And I'll make some other videos about those topics. Alright, I don't want to drag on too long. So, I should have said it at the beginning, but please hit the like button, subscribe, and stay tuned.